Hello everybody, Antoine here for Simarchitecture and welcome back to a new video. Today we're getting inspired by the Gilded Age and in particular by the Rosecliff Mansion located in Newport, which is one of the most beautiful mansions in the US. So, in case you don't know about the Gilded Age, I'm gonna tell you a bit about it. So it was a time in the US history right after the Secession War. It was actually between more or less 1875 and 1900. It was a time where the country was being reconstructed and where new industries were rising and the whole country was being more and more industrialized. It was also a time when you're thinking of architecture where the greatest mansions of the US were being built. So I just told you about the Rosecliff Mansion in Newport, but in Newport there are also a lot of other big mansions. A lot of them don't exist anymore, but there are some of them that are remaining and that you can still visit in Newport. So there is the Rosecliff Mansion I just mentioned. There is also the Breakers, which is probably the most famous mansion in Newport. There's also Marble House or the Elms. Yes, the Elms. Those are more or less the most famous mansion that you can see in Newport. And when you're fond of architecture like me, this is really impressive because those houses were inspired mostly by European architecture, mixing several architectural styles up. A lot of them were inspired by Versailles because back in times and still today I think it was really considered as a architectural masterpiece. And you can find some influences of Versailles and of the French style in Gilded Age architecture, especially in Newport. Newport was a bit special because those were only like holiday mansions, because most of these people had a full-time house in New York City, and most of those houses in New York City don't exist anymore. But you can find some really nice archive pictures that are really interesting and fascinating, because I don't know about you, but the Gilded Age is something really fascinating for me. I cannot even imagine that it really happened. It sounds crazy for me, and you know, I'm not American. I actually never been to America, but you know, this is all the atmosphere of The Great Gatsby. It's just surreal for me. I feel like it didn't really happen, but it did, and this is what is especially incredible and fascinating about it. So the house that we're building today, inspired by Rosecliff Mansion, I copied the front side of the house, but then I improvised for the rest of the house. And it's located in Brindleton Bay on a 64 by 64 lot, almost like always, because I think this is my favorite lot to build in The Sims. So yeah, I wanted it to be on the seaside because it would look more like Newport, even if it's not really the same landscape. But anyway, I just wanted the ocean to be near, and it gives a more dramatic and rich style to the house, I would say. So this is really the perfect lot to build such a house. This house is really large. The garden as well is really large. The garden, I wanted to keep it simple, so there aren't many trees or bushes everywhere. There are a few flowers on the back side of the garden, beautiful edges all around the house, some statues, but nothing too much actually. For this house, for the exterior, because the interior is a bit different, but for the exterior I was thinking less is more. So I wanted to keep it really clean, really simple, with a few architectural elements, and this is it. There's also a big swimming pool, which is also really simple, with a beautiful, well, I don't even know how to call it, maybe a gloriette, but not really. This is this kind of monument I just built behind the swimming pool, with a few columns, architectural elements and statues. Yeah, it's a bit useless. It's just actually for the style, just to make it even more dramatic and beautiful. Yes, so the inside, as I told you, is kind of different, because this is not less is more, this is more is more. It's really full of architectural details. It looks really posh, really luxurious, and I think this is one of the most luxurious house I have ever built. If I can give you a price, well, I only furnished 1 bedroom out of 6, and the house is already worth 1,600,000 simoleons, which is, yeah, this is the most expensive house I have ever built, and it's not even finished. And I'm telling you right now why I didn't finish it. Well, because it was really repetitive to do all the bedrooms, and I just wanted to create 1 bedroom to show you what it could be like. But I felt it was useless to furnish all the bedrooms. But of course, the first floor is full furnished. I furnished all the rooms, and I think we can talk about it just now. So there are a few rooms. There's a dining room. Well, no, first of all, let's start with the entry hall, which is really impressive. It looks a bit empty, but I want it to look like you're entering the house, you feel really overwhelmed by the architecture and the grandeur of this house. So this is what I wanted. There's also a beautiful staircase which takes like a whole wing of the house. This is a double high ceiling with details everywhere. This is probably my favorite room in the house, even if it's just a staircase, but it looks really impressive, I would say. And yeah, so there's also a dining room with an attached living room, which is the small living room, and just on the other side of the house there's the big living room with a fireplace with sumptuous details and furniture. All the content was created by Felixandre, and some of the pieces were also made by Jim7, and I think it's perfect for this house, because those houses from the Gilded Age mansion, as I told you, are inspired by French architecture, most of them. And they also, I mean, the people owning those houses bought some French pieces of furniture, especially from the 18th century. So Felix content was really perfect for this house, and it looks pretty close to the reality, I would say. Still on the first floor there's also a ballroom, which is really big. So you have to imagine that these houses, especially Rosecliff or the Breakers and so on in Newport, were houses for summer, and the people there organize big parties. Maybe not something like the Great Gatsby, but something quite similar, I think. And the high society was there, so there were really big reception halls, big ballrooms to organize the best parties ever. And I wanted to create a ballroom in this house, even if it's a bit useless in terms of gaming and gameplay, but it's still here, and I think it's interesting in a style approach. There's also a basement, so this is totally improvised. I don't know if there's a basement in Rosecliff. I get there is, but I'm not sure there's a swimming pool just like I built. So there's a swimming pool in this basement. There's also the kitchen, which I didn't furnish, but the kitchen is here because there wasn't any room that would be good for the kitchen upstairs. So I decided to build it downstairs in the basement. So the swimming pool is also inspired by French architecture, and in some way I was getting inspired by the Ritz hotel in Paris, but not really. It was just an idea I had, but it's not really like the Ritz, because the Ritz swimming pool is much bigger. Yes, I also planned to build a gym and a bathroom in the basement, but I didn't record it because I only wanted to show you the most interesting and important rooms in the house. So if we go on the second floor, there are all the bedrooms, which are actually more than bedrooms. They're like real apartments or suites. All of them are really big, and actually if you build normal sized bedrooms you could fit almost 20, I would say maybe 30, because all the rooms are really large. They all have their own living room, they have their own bathroom, they have a walk-in closet, they have a fireplace. Well, you could actually live in one of those bedrooms. But yeah, you know, building normal sized bedrooms in such a grand house would have looked a bit strange, so I wanted to have something really big. So there are only 5 bedrooms, or 6, I don't remember. No, there are 6 bedrooms, which is not that much for such a big house, but when you think of how big they are, it's good. I don't know how much bedrooms there are in the real Rosecliff Mansion, maybe 30 and 20, I don't know, but you know, in terms of proportion and the way you're placing walls in The Sims, it's not possible to create all those rooms that you can see in real floor plans, and that's why I decided not to watch to see the full plan of the house, because I didn't want to get influenced by it and wanted to create my own interior. I told you pretty much everything about the interior. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. This is definitely the most luxurious house I've ever built, I would say. Or maybe the billionaire house, if you remember. No, the billionaire mansion, yes, was really luxurious as well, but I didn't use any CC, it was only game content, so it's not really the same style. But it was really a beautiful mansion as well. So this one, I'm really happy with it. The style is really what I like. I think it reflects the Gilded Age. Of course, I don't have all the content that I would need to create something really similar, something exactly the same like all these mansions, because there are some elements from the 19th century that I don't have, that don't exist for The Sims 4. So yeah, but I think the spirit of the house is here, and this is the most important. So I promise you also another Halloween build, and it's coming, I hope before Halloween or maybe on the day of Halloween, but I will do my best and I will upload it really soon. Now, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell me in the comment what you think about this house or what you think about Gilded Age architecture. This is something that would be really interesting. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!